Hello, bit of a different video today. I normally just post funny candid moments that I run across in VRChat. I don't normally talk to the camera, so I am a little nervous. But this is a video that I've wanted to do for quite a while now, and with it being Disability Pride Month, I figure no time like the present, right? So, as the title says, I'll be talking about the time I became disabled in Japan. Now that being said, it was not a Japanese hospital that disabled me. It was an American military hospital. My husband's in the Navy, so we went over there. Yokosuka Naval Medical Center. I'm not sure I'm super comfortable saying any more than that right now, but those who know that Yokosuka Naval Hospital has a reputation. So, we went to Japan in 2018, and like, Japan is amazing, a beautiful country, not without its issues, just like any other country, but I would happily go back in a heartbeat. But fast forward to just before COVID-19 hit, so August of 2019, I went to the ER, which is a simple urinary tract infection. And the person seeing me there, I don't know if they were a RN or something else, but they wanted to prescribe me a fluoroquinolone antibiotic called ciprofloxacin. And they did give me the one black box warning, but none of the others. Admittedly, I don't remember if all the black box warnings were there in 2019 for fluoroquinolone antibiotics, but she warned me that there is a possibility of getting Achilles tendinitis or possible tendon rupture. But she assured me that this only happens to old people or really active people like athletes. And I was a little concerned with this because at the time we didn't bother with a car the entire time we lived in Japan. Public transit is great. We walked and biked everywhere. But on top of that, I was doing high-intensity interval training. I was lifting heavy weights. I was hiking, biking, and I had just taken up rock climbing, bouldering, rock climbing without a harness. So I was insanely active and very fit. And I got assured, oh, that won't happen to you because you're too young for that to happen. Which ended up not being the case. Almost immediately, my Achilles tendons started hurting. And I remember feeling very alarmed. And I had a friend be like, oh, it's in your head, you're, And it wasn't in my head. It did go away initially after a week, which is not uncommon for those of us who we call it getting floxed. The technical term is fluoroquinolone-associated disability, mouthful though, so we say floxed. But it went away initially. I then went back to the States for my sister's wedding, came back to Japan, and in the span of those few months, once I got back, the Achilles tendinitis, the pain, it came back with a vengeance. I could not walk. And when it started getting really bad, I could barely even stand. And my husband happened to be deployed at the time out at sea. He was supposed to come back 3 months later in March of 2020, but that ended up getting extended indefinitely because he was one of the ships that never got exposed to COVID, a bubble ship, as they called them. So we went from having a return date to none. It was up in the air. And meanwhile, it was just me at home by myself with just our cats, no car, and I can't walk anymore. So I'm sure you can imagine the challenges with that. For a while, I was forcing myself to walk all the way down to the commissary to get groceries, all the way back, and then walk the cart back, and then back, all the while being in agony and worrying if my tendons are going to rupture. And I did that until I just couldn't anymore. Till the stage where I couldn't even stand anymore. I was emailing my husband back and forth. I remember when I couldn't stand anymore, without great pain, I remember telling him, hey, at least I could still have video games, right? I might not be able to explore Japan anymore, but I can explore the world of Tyria and Guild Wars 2, or the world of Genshin Impact. I know, gotcha trash. And, more than a few days after that is when I lost use of my hands. It spread to my hands, affecting first my wrist all the way into my elbow, making my hands so stiff and unusable, and the muscle weakness was immediate. I couldn't hold anything. I couldn't hold my cell phone in my hands. I couldn't hold a controller. I remember trying to play Super Mario Sunshine, the re-release, on the Switch. And it was just too painful. I couldn't do it. I remember asking, like, please just let me have this. But I couldn't. And it spread throughout my body. At one point, I had trouble swallowing. I couldn't lift my head from my pillow. It affected my abdomen, just everything. And then came the burning. Any part of my body that was up against anything, like sitting or laying down trying to sleep, it would burn. It would just feel like whatever part was pressed up against something was on fire. So I finally decided to go back to the hospital. And to say I had to jump through hoops is an understatement. I got told, oh, it's in your head. Oh, that's so rare, it couldn't possibly be happening to you. I had to file a formal complaint before I could finally see an international Japanese hospital. That all being said, I'm kind of losing my train of thought here. Eventually, I couldn't use my hands to the point that I was surviving off of protein bars, because I could no longer cook or really feed myself. And it was even getting to be a struggle just to open the protein bars to eat them. And I was fearing for my cats. And my cats knew something was wrong. They stuck to me like glue. But I just remembered hoping that they still knew that I loved them, because it was so painful even just to pet them, because it would burn on my hands. And just the act of holding my arm up to do that, the muscle weakness, I'm telling you, is severe. And so finally I had to get in contact with the chaplain and also with the ombudsman. I'm not quite sure how best to explain an ombudsman. Basically, one of the Navy spouses acts as a liaison between the ship and the rest of us. Because I just couldn't take care of myself anymore. And honestly, I was in such a bad state mentally. It was becoming more and more tempting to just take my exit from the world, if you will. So my husband got to come home to me 2 weeks before his ship finally pulled in, and this is 9 months they were out. And yeah, it was rough. And for a long time, I just didn't seem to be getting better. I remember trying to like mess with our light switch at a bunch of different settings. And because I was holding my arm out for a little bit longer than usual, the best way I can describe it is it felt like my bicep exploded, and I couldn't use my arm for like months after that. It's not all bad though. I'm here standing, talking to you. I can stand for little bits of time. I can walk for short distances. I can hold things in my hands again. I still get flare-ups every once in a while. I'm going through a flare-up right now. But I'm hoping that my floxing... I'm hoping I will get some recovery. That being said, I guess this is kind of a cautionary tale. Like, knowing what I know now about fluoroquinolones, I personally wouldn't take them. I would have asked her for a different antibiotic. And I kick myself even now because I wanted to back then. But I was like, well, she's a doctor, she knows best, right? That being said, work with your doctor, but don't make my mistake. If you really do feel uncomfortable with an antibiotic or any drug that they're going to prescribe, ask questions. And then ask, hey, can you please prescribe me with something else if you are uncomfortable with the risks involved? But again, that's what I would do use your own discretion, work with your doctors, take antibiotics or any other medication that you agree to take, that you are prescribed as prescribed. Maybe someday I'll make a more cohesive video. I'll actually script things so I won't lose my train of thought. But yeah, I figure, you know, Disability Pride Month is the time to do it. I've kept putting this off. I've been too nervous. But, you know, you wouldn't know I'm disabled looking at me. Alright, I have what's known as an invisible disability, unless there's at times where I do need my wheelchair. I am a partial wheelchair user. I don't need it all the time, but I have good and bad days. So, please don't immediately assume that somebody who doesn't look disabled is not. Not every disability is visible, and anyone who has a disability, whether visible or invisible, we're all valid. And I want to take this time to thank any one of you who are doing your part to bring awareness. And I want to thank those who are supporting the people in their lives with disabilities. Really, thank you so much. Also, a thank you to Let's Players. It meant so much to me to be able to at least experience video games that I had been looking forward to through Let's Plays, even if I couldn't play them myself. And yeah, on to VRChat. VRChat's been incredible for me. It came at such a pivotal moment. I was not able to get vaccinated. I worked with my doctor, and we had determined that the risks outweighed the benefits for me due to my severe reaction to the antibiotic. Thank you to those of you who did get vaccinated. I, and many others like me, I appreciate it so much. With that being said, I couldn't leave my house. You know, except for like the rare moments that my husband would take me out to parks when I was willing to sit in a wheelchair, because I had a complex back then about people seeing me in a wheelchair. It was something I had to work through, but it still gets me a little bit today, but we're working on it. Losing my train of thought here again. Bear with me. Where was I going with this? Right, VRChat. Yeah, so I wasn't able to leave my house. And I got to come in VRChat, and even though I could only last 15-30 minutes in the beginning because of the pain in my hands, it was amazing. It gave me a semblance of a life that I was not able to live in real life. I was able to form friendships, build a community. I met some of the most amazing friends of my life in here. I had a friend make a cloud attached to their avatar that I could sit on so they could take me places, and my hands, when I couldn't run around in VRChat myself. And then they helped me use OC leash of all things and put it on the hand of one of my avatars, so that way other friends could drag me around places if nobody had an avatar with seats. And it's just been an absolutely wonderful and amazing experience. I am so grateful for VRChat. You really get out of it what you put into it. And yes, you have your assholes, you have your creeps in VRChat, but that's going to be the case anywhere on the internet and in real life. I can't thank VRChat and the people here enough. It has been absolutely wonderful. But I think, hopefully I remembered most. This has probably been like the 8th take. Because I am not good at talking to a camera. This is not usually what I do. And thank you to those of you who are still watching this if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. As always, hydrate like I'm going to after this. And take care of yourselves and be safe. Bye-bye.